A dog barks when his master is attacked. I would be a coward if I saw that God's truth is attacked and yet would remain silent. John Calvin.
Telling a woman that she can't be an elder is a nonsense rule.
If they claim to be in the body, we let them have it.
Donald Trump is going to win in 2020 by an absolute landslide.
Christianizing the American dream.
So you're allowing the devil with his diseases because you've sinned to attack you.
Sowing is a blessing from God to make you rich.
Treating Jesus like a lottery ticket.
The Lord spoke to my heart. Been very few times I've ever heard God be this articulate with me. And I'm telling you word for word, these words came into my heart. I'm not asking you to witness to him. I'm asking you to brush his hair.
Sharply, that's what God commanded.
Properties, default device, microphone, USB, okay, check. Oh, there we go. I'm betting that the last episode that was done of was mute. Okay, sorry about that. That's what we do when we're doing live and not paying attention. So, welcome back to the Master's Dog False Teacher of the Week, episode 57. I am your host, Norm the Master's Dog Dunham, a.k.a. the Evangelical Norm. And I'm just realizing I have to go back and record a whole nother podcast. Lovely. The Master's Dog False Teacher of the Week came out of the Master's Dog podcast based on the introduction video. I had a montage of about 40 or so false teachers set to a really cool song by Result called No Compromise, used by permission. Thank you, Result. And somebody came to me and said, you know what, we don't know who all these people are, and I thought some of them were okay. So is there any way you could kind of break it down and tell me who is who and why they're a false teacher? So that's where this segment of the podcast came out of. I have been doing it, tried to do it every Saturday. Yes, I'm a couple of days behind, and but here we are, and we're getting it done. So, and that's where this came from. So I went through that entire video. Then I changed up the introduction video, made a beat on my phone, be able to maybe hopefully monetize this at someday. And it's also a little more versatile because I can put in, different video clips and stuff like that. So that's what this podcast is about. There's a little background on it. If you haven't already, please hit the like and subscribe button. Share the video. That lets Mr. Algorithm send this out to all the people who might be interested in joining us for this podcast as well. So if you'll do that, and we'll keep getting new subscribers. And that is all for the new subscribers. We've had a bunch in the last 10 to 15 days, so hopefully the trend continues on. But today we are going to jump into this. The false teacher of the week this week is Rhonda Byrne. Or Byrne, or Byrne, I don't know. I don't know how you pronounce her last name. She's Australian, so probably completely different than what I would expect it to be. She is the author of the book and creator of the movie The Secret. So for those of you who don't know what that is, it is the quote-unquote law of attraction. More like the lie of attraction. And this has snuck into the Christian world through the name it and claim it, prosperity gospel, all that stuff. And it's really, I've listened to false Christian teachers make these claims, and I spoke into the universe and blah 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 happened, and it's all based on this whole issue of, and it's a bastardization of the Christian concept of you reap what you sow kind of thing. It's a worse than karma, just really bad teaching. So let me just I got introduced to this because I had people in my church back when the early 2000s when I was pastoring a church in Pueblo, Colorado. I had people who were reading this and actually getting into this kind of thing. And so I had to get the book and read the book. I actually own the book, unfortunately. But so here's the thing. Here's the biggest problem that I have with this. Is one, it completely removes any kind of sovereignty of God, right? God is no longer sovereign. You are. You are God. This secret makes you God because it turns God into just the universe and this inanimate. It's worse than the Force. It's worse than any ridiculousness you can comprehend. And what makes it even beyond that is not only does it give you the credit for anything good that happens in your life, it's because of the positive vibes and the good attitude that you send out into the universe. And this law of attraction, what you think, if you think bad thoughts, you attract bad things. If you think good thoughts, you attract good things. And it's this whole really thing. But what this does, and I want to just read you a little segment. This is the second or third chapter in the book. It's on page 28. So this is The Secret Made Simple. And here it says, often when people first hear this part of the secret, they recall events in history where masses of lives were lost, and they find it incomprehensible that so many people could have attracted themselves to the event. By the law of attraction, they had to be on the same frequency as the event. It doesn't necessarily mean they thought of the exact event, but the frequency of their thoughts matched the frequency of the event. If people believe they can be in the wrong place at the wrong time, and they have no control over outside circumstances, those thoughts of fear, separation, and powerlessness, if persistent, can attract them to being in the wrong place at the wrong time. So do you realize what this means? Do you understand what that concept of this book means? It means the Holocaust was the Jews' fault. 9/11 was the fault of the people in the towers or the people in the Pentagon. Any horrible thing, the Boston Marathon bombing, all those people who were killed or maimed, or it was their fault because their thoughts were on the same frequency. They were thinking negative thoughts, sending that into the universe, and so the universe gave them the Tsarnaev brother, I can't remember how those dudes pronounce their name, or the 9/11 bombers, or Timothy McVeigh, or what's their names, Harrison Klebold from Columbine High School. All those events, think of all those events, and according to The Secret, according to Rhonda Byrne, it's their fault. Everybody who died in those events, everybody who was a victim of those events, everybody who was injured, hurt, anything in those events, lost loved ones, all their fault. Because the law of attraction, their thoughts were on the same frequency as that event. And so it drew them into that event. How ugly is that? How absolutely, and this woman is continuing to write books. And people are continuing to buy them. And people are continuing to buy into this idea of, I just have to speak it into the universe and it happens and it's going to be real. And it's ridiculous to think that. And I just thought I'd throw this little picture in just as a, to wrap everything up. Just to really, I mean, again, if to comprehend that and to create this thing called The Secret, where essentially you're blaming everything bad that happens to you is your fault because of your thoughts. And, again, you get the credit for everything good as well. Cut God out of the picture. God is not sovereign. God is not in control. And again, now people are going to come up with me. So God was the one that orchestrated these events? Yes. I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with God being sovereign over horrifying events in history. Because God will use those events. It says scripturally that he uses all things for the good of those who love him. God has a perfect, and I don't say wonderful plan, because many Christians, I have to go redo the podcast for persecuted, the fifth seal for the World Watch List, where Christians are persecuted for their faith. God is sovereign over that. Is God responsible for the sin of people who murder and so on? No. But is God sovereign over it? Is God in control over all those things? Was God surprised by any of those things? Absolutely not. God is sovereign. God is in control. God causes all things to work together for the good of those who love him. And I have no problem with that. I have no problem reconciling the sovereignty of God as opposed to just the random universe that is under this law that, is required to send you good things when you think about good things, or what. I mean, just, it's ridiculous when you really break it down and listen to people. It's so far-fetched and so poorly presented and just odd, and that's what makes this woman dangerous. That's what makes her and the teachings that she has presented dangerous. Because you are essentially making yourself into God by following after this. And that's dangerous. So there you go, guys. There's our false teacher of the week, a few days late, and with just a few technical difficulties, but hopefully you were able to get through that first couple minutes of silence and then got to actually enjoy the rest of this podcast. So hopefully, if you would, please like and share the video so the Mr. Algorithm will send this out to other people who might be interested in stuff like this. Continue to increase our subscribers here on the Evangelical Norm Network. And as always, preach the gospel at all times. Use words. They're necessary. And until next time, Soli Deo Gloria.